So I want to say thank you to everybody for having me here. And it's a real pleasure to be able to sit in a room full of people that are, to me, just like Julie. So I just wanted to walk you through some of these pictures. These are where we were at before MST and before Faith got in trouble. So in the corner is me and my husband. We were just dating at that time. We're big sushi lovers. And in the middle, me and Faith. Faith, prior to my marriage, very close to me. So if you saw me, you saw Faith. So, and then the last picture is our wedding photo, me and my kids, my husband, and my best cousin, Shelly. So this is our journey. So in the beginning, we were newly married in a blended family. Faith was just starting high school. And Faith was coming from a highly gifted and talented student background. And as Julie let you know, my husband, RJ, he tried really hard to become that supportive and effective step-parent. Unfortunately, Faith was not having it. And so because she felt that I wasn't paying her as much attention as before, she started ditching school, ran away from home, was experimenting with drugs and alcohol. She had become disrespectful in her attitude and her language towards us, all of us in the family. And then her charge of third-degree aggravated robbery came along. So here's the climate that Julie walked into when she came to work with us at our house through MST. So Faith, her older brother, and myself were all survivors of childhood sexual trauma or assault. Faith had a tendency, once she started getting in trouble, to gravitate towards negative peers and those that she felt were in trouble and that she could actually help. There was a high level of change that was coming through our house. My older son had went off to Job Corps. There were new family rules and responsibilities. My husband, in addition to being a chemistry professor, he also is a minister. So he came into the house with a lot of spiritual-based rules and policies. And that was something new to Faith, and she was not at all going to have it. So that's where we started with the trouble. But due to her charges and her stay at Gilliam, we had multiple professionals that were assigned to our case. So we went from no one in our lives and in our business, no one knew we existed, and then we had pretrial services, and then we had ankle monitors, and then we had people calling in the middle of the night to make sure that her ankle monitor wasn't giving off a false alarm, but it was because she was sneaking out of the window in the middle of the night, and that's pretty much how I found out that she was leaving in the middle of the night. We had the public defender's office, the DA's office, Savio House and Julie Brown, and then we had the Department of Human Services that was also coming in with social workers. So to say that we really didn't know where to go, where to start off, and I had no idea who to talk to and who I could trust. It seemed like whenever I would tell pretrial services, yeah, I didn't know she was gone in the middle of the night, then the next thing that would happen is they would have someone there first thing in the morning, like, okay, well, you know, we need to call in Gilliam, we need to get someone out here, we need to pick her up, and I'm standing there like, if I'd have known that was going to happen, I wouldn't have called you in the first place. So through working with Julie, and as she said, when she came to our house the first initial visit, I was initially like, here goes another person, but I don't know what she's supposed to be doing, and I don't know what I'm supposed to be saying to her. Julie came in, and she really assessed our situation in short order. So one of the things that stands out for me is that Julie kind of got a feel for us, and she said to me on her second visit, you want to go out to the park or something, catch a coffee, so we can talk just the two of us away from your house. And I said yes. I wasn't driving at the time. I really didn't go out of my house. Our financial situation was such that we were trying to blend and merge everything. So we went out to the park, and Julie said, okay, I know that you're not as quiet as you look. And I know that you have some things to say. So I wanted to bring you out to the park so you could just get a chance to talk about your issues and what you're facing and how you're feeling going through this with your daughter. And I told Julie, it's really hard because me and my husband have done everything that we can to eliminate the stereotypes. We don't hang out with bad crowds. We stay, generally on the positive side of things. And so it was really surprising that Faith was going down this road. And I had no idea, one, that she knew gang members, that she knew how to do things that were going to get her in trouble, and that she knew how to beat any system that was put in front of her until she got to MST. And once she got to MST, she couldn't beat it anymore. So she didn't, and she made it known too. Julie would come in and and she'd walk off. We're standing there like, nice to see you, Julie. How you doing? So one of the things, because even after Julie came, Faith was still running away, cutting off ankle monitors and those kind of things. But there was one thing that worked for Faith, and it was the missing poster. And some background behind this. The picture is Faith getting her dog in January. We started services with Julie in May, somewhere around in there. And so she didn't like this picture, even though she liked her dog. So Julie said, we need to do these missing posters. And I said, well, why do a missing poster? Well, because if we do a missing poster, she knows that this missing poster is going to go up the next time that she cuts her bracelet or she runs out the door or anything like that. This can persuade her not to do it. So I said, okay, I'll give you the picture that you need. And, she came back with this printed up and everything. And I said, ooh. This is not going to be nice. She's not going to like this at all. And Julie said, that's the point of it. She's meant to not to like that. So she came up for our meeting, and we show her the missing poster. And all out of nowhere, this hardened girl that she felt that she was burst into tears. And they were flying and waterworks all over. And I'm thinking, a missing poster? That's all it took? Missing poster. So this is one of the main thing that worked for us. The other thing was forming a consistent message. And that was, if you run, then we'll distribute the missing flyer. Understanding our roles and rules and responsibilities in co-parenting. So we had rules that we were putting onto Faith. But Faith, being as smart as she was, turned around and said, well, what rules do you all have to do? If I have to do these rules, then you all have to do rules too. And I thought, I'm the parent, so we are telling you what you're going to do, and you have no say in the matter. To which Julie said, actually, let's think about this and exactly how we're going to form a family that can get past all of the challenges. And part of that means that you as parents and co-parenting have to have rules that you all know what they are, and that you all are communicating and talking so that you can't be divided later. So we put rules into place, things like we couldn't change the policy for Faith unless we had went through it with her 3 times. The first time was to let her know what the rule was. The second time was to let her know what the consequences were for breaking the rule. And the third one was that if we were wrong in the policy that we were putting together on the rules, then she could challenge the rules back to us, and we would go back through this cycle again. Okay, you're right. We were wrong. Let's go back and revisit those rules. And then we had to go on to our roles as co-parents. So because they were my kids, and it was my house, and it was my things that my husband had moved into, I felt a sense of this is mine. And so I don't necessarily need to co-parent because this is the way that I've been doing it. To which Julie said, how well is that working for you? And I thought, that's true. So, once we started to looking at where RJ was and starting to pull in his views and opinions, in addition to my views and opinions, it went so much further than where we were initially. So once he was able to say, I don't really think that it's appropriate that you allow her to talk to you like you would your friend. And I said, but she's communicating. And he said, but look at her language. Listen to what she's saying to you. It doesn't seem like there's that much respect now that I'm here. I thought, that's right. That's true. So with having new roles and those responsibilities, so what we did too was that because Faith gravitated to me, my youngest gravitated towards my husband, we kind of took this, okay, I'll tackle Faith. We'll talk about what's going on and what decisions I'm making with Faith, and he would give his input, and then we would go forward. So those things worked really, really well. In the rules that we made, not only for Faith having appropriate consequences, but me and my husband having appropriate consequences and understanding what our consequences are as parents if we don't step up further than what we're expected to do. Yes, we're expected to be at court. Yes, we're expected to interact with the professionals. And, yes, we're expected to make sure that everybody on the team is aware of the situation. So the rules of MST worked very well. One of the big things that Julie made sure to let us know is about arguing with purpose. So not just having arguments and, words are flying, emotions are getting high and heavy, but actually having a purpose. So if you're coming into a conversation, in which case we had to say things to Faith that we knew that she wasn't going to like, we had to be ready for the argument that was coming, but we had to allow that argument to flow forward with purpose. So not to be still having her holler and scream an hour later, to be able to say, okay, we're getting away from what we're talking about and bringing it back. We got through so many conversations in less than 20 minutes, rules and all, 20 minutes, because we were following that purpose for the conversation. Getting on the same page, we all were ready and willing for the work that was coming through MST. One of the things that happened in regards to getting on the same page was that Julie was able to understand that I was overwhelmed as a parent with all of these different professionals. So she took the lead for me and said, okay, you guys, let's have a staffing. Let's bring everybody to the table, including the parents, and let's get on the same page as to what your roles are, what my roles are, what the parents' roles are, so that we can all go forward. That works so well that now we can send out one email, and that one email goes to all of the team members, and the team members then know they don't just reply to me. They reply to, they reply to all. So everyone is on the same page. And so lastly, taking the lead and not being led by my feelings of guilt for her trauma. So a lot of things that Faith would interact with me on was because she knew that if she pushed my buttons, eventually she'd get to the button that meant she got new clothes or she got new something, because I'm steady feeling like, well, if I didn't have to work 3 jobs when I was a single parent, that would have never happened to you. That would have never happened to my son either. So once we got through MST and she realized, I can't work my mom anymore. What's going on? Then she figured, okay, well, if I can divide and conquer, that'll make it better. So every time Julie would come into the house, she would make it so that it was an unwelcoming environment for Julie. So, I'm running around behind her like, why you take the water out? Why is the water hot? I need to give water. What's going on? Oh, nothing. But it was all for Julie's sake because she was seeing the changes in mom. So my phrase that I always say in regards to Faith is that what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. On the left is a picture of Faith when we first started the MST. So in June, her GPA was 1.1. She wasn't attending school. She had negative peers. And now, April of this year, Faith has a GPA of 3.4, a 98% attendance rate. She follows all the rules. She's making positive life choices and changes. This child will now tell any negative peers, no, I'm not going in that car. I'm not going to the mall. I don't have any money. You shouldn't go to the mall either. She's leading, her positive life choices. She doesn't want to go back through the Gilliam. She doesn't want to go back through having all these team members or any of the other things that happen. However, she will always come back to MST and Julie and say that was the best thing that happened to us. And that's the truth.